A mountain peak near Canmore bears a new name. Bald Eagle Peak is now the official name for a peak that for decades bore a derogatory name. This isn't the first thing we have seen renamed and will not be the last. Michelle Robinson joins us. And Michelle, how important is it to see this kind of change happening?
As the co-chair for the Missing and Murdered Indigenous Women, Girls, Two-Spirit Calgary Committee, I think that the name before was actually quite violent. And it sets the tone for violence against Indigenous people. It really was derogatory to the point that nobody can even publish the name. That's how poorly named it was. So that idea that it's finally changed to something that's more reflective of the people who actually were there prior to colonialism and having them name them, that is so incredibly important. And again, that dehumanizing terminology that was there before, like this is a huge step. I've been so excited for this day to finally happen because I don't want my daughter growing up in a world with that mountain named what it was.
Do you feel like we could be seeing a wave of name changes from mountains to schools to roads and beyond?
I think Canadians are starting to understand what colonialism actually is. And as a result, are realizing, oh, it was inappropriate for us to completely change the history of this entire land and not in the sense of giving it back, but in the sense of trying to work with the people that were originally here. And that was the true intention of the treaties, was to work collaboratively and work equally. So I think that we're starting to see some more progress in a good way, and I hope that it continues.
And I bet it also means something that it shows we can do it, and it's really not as difficult as perhaps people made it out to be.
No, I think if anybody were to read the United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous People, they would easily see how working with Indigenous people is a part of that mandate and how this is the type of work that needs to be done in order to make positive changes. It's also bigger than just the people who live here, the Indigenous people, that are children, the next generations, but it's also the tourists that go through that area. They should never have to read such derogatory language and then go back to their countries thinking that's somehow acceptable language. So, it's bigger than just that. It's that tourism as well, that maybe now people will see that there's a bigger picture of conversation to have here in Canada, or at least not go back thinking that terminology is acceptable use in Canada, because it absolutely is not.
Thanks for your time, Michelle Robinson.
Next on City News.